Chia seeds can be a useful addition to a healthy diet after 60. They provide fiber, plant-based omega-3 fat, several minerals, and a small amount of protein. But there is one way of eating them that can turn a healthy habit into a genuine medical emergency: swallowing a spoonful of dry seeds and then chasing it with water. That warning is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to separate a real, preventable risk from the exaggerated claims that often surround so-called superfoods. Chia seeds are not dangerous for most people when they are prepared sensibly. They are also not a miracle treatment for constipation, high blood pressure, diabetes, belly fat, or aging. The real value comes from using them in the right amount, in the right texture, and in the right place within an otherwise balanced diet. This matters more after 60 because swallowing difficulties, digestive sensitivity, dehydration, medication use, and loss of muscle become more common with age. In this video, you will learn the 10 mistakes that can erase the benefits of chia seeds or create unnecessary problems. We will begin with the most urgent safety mistake, then cover digestion, hydration, medication timing, protein, allergies, and the warning signs you should never ignore. At the end, I will give you a simple 7-day plan for introducing chia seeds without overwhelming your digestive system. Mistake number 6 is especially important if you take a morning thyroid pill, blood pressure medication, or diabetes medication. But first, let us deal with the mistake that can cause trouble within minutes. Never swallow a spoonful of dry chia seeds and then drink water afterward. Chia seeds form a thick gel when they contact liquid. That property is useful in oatmeal, yogurt, smoothies, and pudding because it helps the food hold moisture. But if a mass of dry seeds becomes stuck in the esophagus, the tube that carries food to the stomach, the seeds can absorb liquid and expand where they are lodged. A published case report described a man who swallowed dry chia seeds followed by water and developed a complete esophageal obstruction. He already had a history of intermittent difficulty swallowing, which likely increased his risk. Doctors had to remove the gel-like blockage with an emergency endoscopic procedure. This appears to be rare, but the lesson is simple. Do not use the dry spoonful followed by water method, especially if food sometimes feels stuck, you cough during meals, you have had an esophageal narrowing, or you have been diagnosed with dysphagia. A safer everyday approach is to mix chia into a moist food or allow it to hydrate in liquid before eating it. If you suddenly cannot swallow food, liquid, or even your own saliva, or you develop chest pain or breathing difficulty after eating, seek emergency care immediately. Soaking chia reduces the risk created by dry expansion, but it does not automatically make every chia texture safe for every person. Swallowing problems are not all the same. Some people struggle with thin liquids. Others have difficulty with sticky, mixed, or gel-like textures. A chia pudding that feels smooth to one person may be difficult for someone with Parkinson's disease, a previous stroke, dementia, an esophageal disorder, or weakness of the swallowing muscles. If you have been given a texture-modified diet, follow the instructions from your speech-language pathologist or medical team. Do not assume that a recipe is safe simply because it has been soaked overnight. Also avoid adding chia to a drink that becomes unexpectedly thick if you are not used to that texture. For people without a swallowing disorder, a practical method is to stir a small amount into yogurt, oatmeal, or enough liquid to allow the seeds to become evenly hydrated. Stir again after a few minutes so dry clumps do not remain. The goal is an even texture, not a dry pocket of seeds hidden inside the food. A common mistake is moving from almost no fiber to several tablespoons of chia in one day because the package looks healthy. Chia seeds contain a concentrated amount of fiber. Fiber supports bowel regularity and can help a meal feel more satisfying, but the digestive system often needs time to adapt. A sudden increase may cause gas, bloating, abdominal cramping, loose stool, or, in some people, worse constipation. This is particularly relevant after 60 because intestinal movement may be slower. activity may be lower, and several medications can already contribute to constipation. Adding a large fiber load on top of those factors can make you uncomfortable enough to abandon the habit completely. Begin with a small amount, such as 1 teaspoon mixed into moist food. Keep the rest of your meals familiar for several days so you can tell how your body responds. If you feel well, you may gradually increase toward 1 tablespoon. There is no prize for reaching the largest serving on the label. More fiber is not automatically better. The right amount is the amount you tolerate comfortably while still eating a varied diet. Fiber and fluid work together. Chia holds water, and your digestive tract needs enough available fluid to move stool comfortably. This does not mean that every person should force down a huge amount of water. Hydration needs differ according to body size, climate, activity, kidney function, heart function, and medication use. Some people with heart failure, advanced kidney disease, or low sodium have been told to limit fluids. Their medical plan must come first. For most adults who do not have a fluid restriction, notice whether your urine is becoming unusually dark, your mouth is dry, or your constipation worsens after increasing fiber. Spread fluids across the day rather than drinking a large amount all at once. Soups, milk, unsweetened beverages, fruits, and moist foods also contribute fluid. The key mistake is changing only the chia while ignoring the rest of the hydration picture. If you have a prescribed fluid limit, ask your clinician or dietitian how to add high-fiber foods safely within that limit. Chia seeds contain useful nutrients, but they are not a complete breakfast, lunch, or dinner. 2 tablespoons provide only a modest amount of protein. That can complement a meal, but it cannot replace the protein found in eggs, Greek yogurt, fish, poultry, tofu, beans, or another substantial protein food. This matters after 60 because preserving muscle becomes a nutritional priority. Muscle supports balance, glucose control, mobility, recovery from illness, and independence. A chia pudding made only with water and a little fruit may look healthy, yet it can leave the meal short on protein and total nourishment. A better version might include Greek yogurt or fortified soy yogurt, berries, and a small portion of nuts, depending on your needs and allergies. Chia becomes one component of the meal rather than the entire meal. If you have kidney disease or another condition that changes your protein needs, follow individualized guidance. The main principle is not to let the superfood label distract you from the basics. Adequate protein, vegetables, or fruit, appropriate carbohydrates, and enough total energy. This is where health claims can become dangerous. Research suggests that chia may have modest effects on some cardiometabolic markers, including blood pressure, but results for body weight and blood sugar are inconsistent. Chia should never replace prescribed medication, and you should not reduce a dose because your breakfast now contains seeds. At the same time, major diet changes can affect your measurements. If you use insulin, glucose-lowering medication, or several blood pressure medicines, monitor your readings as your clinician recommends. Contact the prescribing team if you notice repeated dizziness, faintness, unusually low readings, or symptoms of low blood sugar. Medication timing also matters. Some oral medicines are sensitive to food or high-fiber meals. Thyroid hormone is one example in which dietary fiber can reduce absorption in some people. However, there is no universal rule that everyone must separate every medicine from chia by the same number of hours. Follow the instructions for your specific prescription. Ask a pharmacist, "Can I take this medicine with a high-fiber breakfast, or should I separate it?" That one question is more accurate than following a blanket rule from social media. Chia can make a meal more filling because it adds fiber and forms a gel, but fullness does not guarantee weight loss. The seeds still contain calories, and popular chia recipes often add sweetened plant milk, coconut cream, honey, maple syrup, granola, dried fruit, or large portions of nut butter. A small bowl can quietly become a high-calorie dessert while still wearing a healthy label. This does not make the recipe bad. It simply means the total meal still counts. If weight management is your goal, use chia to improve the structure of a meal, not to decorate an already oversized one. Try combining a measured amount of chia with an unsweetened base, a protein source, and fresh fruit. Eat slowly and notice whether the meal keeps you satisfied. The most useful question is not, did I add chia? It is, did this meal help me eat well, preserve muscle, and stay comfortably full? Clinical research does not support the idea that chia alone reliably melts belly fat. Sustainable weight change still depends on the overall eating pattern, activity, sleep, medical conditions, and the amount of energy consumed over time. High-fiber foods are helpful for many people, but there are times when adding bulk is not appropriate. If you have a known bowel obstruction, a significant intestinal narrowing, severe gastroparesis, a recent gastrointestinal operation, or an active digestive flare, do not experiment with a large amount of chia without medical guidance. The same applies if your clinician has placed you on a low-fiber or low-residue diet. The issue is not that chia is uniquely toxic. The issue is that a gel-forming, high-fiber food may be poorly tolerated when the digestive tract is narrowed, inflamed, moving very slowly, or still healing. Persistent abdominal swelling, repeated vomiting, severe cramping, inability to pass stool or gas, or rapidly worsening pain are not normal signs of detoxing or your body adjusting to fiber. Stop eating and seek medical evaluation. If your symptoms are mild, reduce the amount and speak with a dietitian or clinician before trying again. Digestive discomfort should guide an adjustment. Severe symptoms should trigger medical attention. Natural foods can still cause allergic reactions. Chia allergy appears to be uncommon, but cases have been reported. Symptoms may include itching, hives, swelling, rash, stomach symptoms, coughing, wheezing, or breathing difficulty. Laboratory research has also identified potential cross-reactivity between chia proteins and proteins from some other seeds. If you are trying chia for the first time, use a small amount rather than introducing a large serving inside a complicated recipe. That makes it easier to identify the cause if a reaction occurs. Stop eating the food if you develop a suspected reaction. Seek emergency help for trouble breathing, throat tightness, faintness, or swelling of the tongue or face. If you have a known severe seed allergy, discuss chia with your allergist before experimenting. Do not use soaking, blending, or grinding as a way to remove an allergy. Preparation changes texture, not the fact that the food contains proteins capable of triggering a reaction. Not every symptom requires panic, but not every symptom should be pushed through. Mild gas during the first few days may improve when you reduce the serving and increase more gradually. Persistent pain, worsening constipation, repeated diarrhea, vomiting, difficulty swallowing, blood in the stool, black stool, unexplained weakness, or symptoms that wake you at night deserve more attention. Older adults are often told that digestive problems are simply part of aging. That can delay evaluation of medication effects, dehydration, thyroid problems, pelvic floor dysfunction, inflammatory disease, or other causes that chia will not fix. Use chia as a food, not as a test of willpower. If it consistently makes you feel worse, you do not need to keep eating it. Oats, beans, lentils, berries, vegetables, ground flax, and other foods can also contribute fiber. A healthy diet has many options. The goal is not to prove that your body can tolerate a trendy ingredient. The goal is to find a sustainable eating pattern that supports your digestion, strength, and quality of life. A simple 7-day safe start. Before day 1, check 3 things. First, do you have difficulty swallowing, an esophageal disorder, a bowel narrowing, recent gastrointestinal surgery, or instructions to follow a modified texture or low-fiber diet? If yes, ask your medical team before adding chia. Second, do you take a medicine that must be taken on an empty stomach or separated from food? Read the label and ask your pharmacist whether a high-fiber breakfast affects the timing. Third, do you have a prescribed fluid restriction? If yes, do not copy a general hydration target from the internet. Use the plan given to you. On days 1 through 3, mix 1 teaspoon of chia into a moist food you already tolerate. Good examples include oatmeal, yogurt, or a smoothie that is not excessively thick. Stir thoroughly, allow the seeds to hydrate, then stir again before eating. Do not swallow the seeds dry. Keep a simple note of bloating, bowel movements, abdominal pain, swallowing comfort, and any unusual symptoms. Avoid adding several other new high-fiber foods on the same day because you will not know which change caused the reaction. On days 4 through 7, if you feel comfortable, increase toward 1 tablespoon. You may stay at the smaller amount if it works for you. Eat it as part of a meal that includes a meaningful protein source. Continue your normal fluid plan. Do not change medication doses. If you monitor blood pressure or glucose, record the readings as usual rather than checking obsessively after one meal. At the end of the week, ask 4 questions. Did digestion improve? Did the serving feel comfortable? Did the meal remain balanced? Is this habit easy enough to continue? If the answer is yes, chia can remain one useful ingredient in your diet. If the answer is no, reduce it, change the recipe, or choose another fiber-rich food. Chia seeds do not need to be feared, and they do not deserve to be worshipped. The most important rule is never to swallow a spoonful of dry chia seeds and chase it with water, especially if you have any history of swallowing difficulty. Prepare them in a moist, evenly hydrated form. Begin with a small serving, and increase only if your digestive system is comfortable. Remember the larger picture. Review your fluid needs. Do not replace a protein-rich meal with seeds. Do not use chia as a substitute for blood pressure, diabetes, thyroid, or any other prescribed treatment. Check medication instructions with a pharmacist instead of following a universal timing rule. Take allergies and severe digestive symptoms seriously. Most importantly, judge chia by what it actually does for you. Does it help you build a satisfying breakfast, improve the variety of your diet, and support comfortable bowel habits? Then it may be worth keeping. Does it cause pain, swallowing trouble, or persistent digestive problems? Then there is no reason to force it. Which mistake surprised you most? Eating the seeds dry, starting with too much, or treating chia like medicine? Share your answer in the comments. And if you want practical, science-based guidance for staying strong and healthy after 60, subscribe to the channel and join us for the next video. Small changes work best when they are safe, realistic, and consistent. Take good care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.
I've made breakfast. Don't forget to let me know what you think, subscribe, and hit that bell.